Hey everyone, you may be wondering where I am at the moment. I am in a bus stop because today I am heading to Stirling, which is a city kind of in the central belt of Scotland. I've never been before, despite having lived in Scotland my whole life, so I'm incredibly excited and I'm going to take you guys along on the journey with me. So I can't wait. It's going to be a full day, a lot of walking, a lot of things to see, but I'm very excited. It's incredibly humid today. If you don't know, the UK is actually a pretty humid country, but because we don't get like hot weather very often, you don't tend to feel it as much, but it is incredibly humid today. So I did straighten my hair. I shouldn't have bothered. So maybe throughout the course of the day, you'll see my hair get frizzier and frizzier and crazier and crazier, but nonetheless, I'm a little insecure about it, but I'm waiting for my bus that's going to take me into Edinburgh, and then I'm going to take the train to Stirling, and that's when our journey will start, so I'll see you there. I made it to Edinburgh with some time to spare before my train to Stirling, so I thought I'd walk around the station a bit and take a look at Edinburgh in the early morning, which was very beautiful. Waverley is such an amazing train station. It's worth just passing through if you're here, even if you don't have a train to catch. It looks especially nice in the morning when the sun is rising, I have to say. Then I headed onto my train, ready to take on the central belt. There's really not much to say about my train journey. It takes about 40 to 50 minutes to get from Edinburgh to Stirling. The views were pretty awesome. You can see Linlithgow Palace and the Scottish countryside, which is nice, so it made for a super nice journey. As soon as I got to Stirling, I walked about 30 seconds from the train station over to the bus station. It was super easy to find and really easy to figure out what bus you needed and what have you. I jumped onto the 51 bus towards Cowie, which takes me to the Battle of Bannockburn site. The bus takes about 10 to 15 minutes to get you there and costs me about £2.50 for one journey. don't think you can hear me. I'm on a super busy main road. I took the bus, the 51 bus towards Cowie. I did that just by going to the bus station, which was really close by. Waited basically no time at all. I think the buses are every 20 minutes or so, so that was no problem. So I just got off at Winds of Milton stop, and then it's just a short walk up from there. The only problem is I got off a lot sooner than I was supposed to. Got off at the wrong stop. I was just a little bit worried about missing it. So I thought, well, I'll just get off 1 or 2 stops early just in case. Looked at Google Maps, and I think I've got off about half an hour walk early. But that's okay. I'm just walking along, enjoying the view, enjoying the scenery. I was going to be about an hour early for my ticket time anyway, so it'll be nice. I'll just walk around the battlefield and have an explore, and I think it'll be really nice, so hopefully I don't have to walk too far, so wish me luck.
2 minutes later.
So about 30 seconds after filming that last clip, I stumbled upon the Battle of Bannockburn Centre. Google Maps completely lied to me. I got off the bus at the Arnold Clark showroom at Winds of Milton, and that actually seemed to be the right stop. The entire place was right next to the road as well, so I was seriously lied to. Not complaining though. I am now here at the site of the Battle of Bannockburn. It is absolutely beautiful. Ignore the dark clouds, that is something you'll likely get if you come here, but it's such a beautiful place. I knew obviously it was going to be in the middle of nowhere being a battle, but I was just surprised by how lovely it is, and there's like houses over there that just have the most incredible view. I'm kind of blown away. It's absolutely amazing here. So if you don't know, the Battle of Bannockburn was a battle in the 1300s between the English and the Scottish. So William Wallace at this point had been hung, drawn and quartered. He died, and the English were basically trying to regain control of Scotland, coming up here, fighting battles and winning back Scottish land. And Robert the Bruce, who was King of Scotland at the time, didn't really like that too much, neither did the rest of the Scottish people, well, most of the Scottish people, so they fought back. And here at the Battle of Bannockburn, Robert the Bruce fought the English army, obviously with the help of the Scottish army, and succeeded. They beat the English. So this is kind of an important point in Scottish history, an important place, because it's really where there was a turnaround in gaining Scottish independence. So quite interesting. It's very strange to be standing literally on a point where people fought and people died. It's an odd feeling.
However, to start off with though, I am afraid I am going to have to disappoint you. We are not on the original battlefield.
Kind of amazing but kind of creepy at the same time, and I'm really excited to go and have an explore. There were some amazing views here. As you can see, I'm zooming in on Stirling Castle that you had a great view of. As you heard in the last clip, it turns out this wasn't where the battle was fought. That was a few miles away actually. I believe you could go and walk to it if you wanted. This section was where the Scottish army was believed to have trained and slept when they weren't fighting. excuse me, the sun's in my eyes, so I'm going to squint through this whole next section. But I've been at the Battle of Bannockburn site for about 20 minutes now. I've actually just stepped out to this kind of neighbouring suburb with lots of houses, but I just thought this was a cute view. There's some cows behind me, I'm not sure if you can see them, but I've been here about 20 minutes now, and it's awesome. As I mentioned before, being able to actually be on a battle site is really cool. They've done a great job with the statue and the monument and all the signs around telling you what happened and things. It's really cool. That being said, is it worth coming here? I know I haven't been here too long, but I'm not sure. I've kind of done everything that can be done so far. I still need to see the visitor centre. I've got a ticket to go in there, but that doesn't open until 10 o'clock, and I got here at 9, which is the way the timings of trains and buses worked out and what have you. So I am a little bit like, what do I do for 40 minutes before it opens? So if there is something you want to do, I would recommend getting here, you know, a bit later in the day maybe, especially because I thought it was going to be busy just now with all the dog walkers and things, and there were some around, but it was fairly quiet, so I don't imagine this place gets like super heaving and busy. So I would say unless you're looking to maybe bring a picnic here or try and do one of the long walks that I can see are around here, then I maybe wouldn't recommend coming early. Another thing to consider, of course, is that it's very out of the way. I did have to get a bus in order to come here. I could have got an Uber, of course, or a taxi or something. You could, of course, walk, but you're looking at probably about an hour's walk to get here, and that's going, you know, at an okay pace. So I wouldn't personally probably recommend coming unless it's something you're really, really keen to do, or you've got some time in the day that you need to fill, just because I think it's quite a far distance for something that really doesn't take that long. After that, I went on the tour that I had pre-booked in the visitor centre. It started with our tour guide telling us about the state of Scotland and England before the battle, and then using a map to go over how the battle went down in great detail, which was really cool. Then we went to the coolest part, which was this kind of 360 room where the battle was taking place all around us. It was a really cool way to tell the story and was incredibly immersive, I have to say.
Here on the night of the 23rd of June, as the English held the battle, has invaded the Scots camp. See whether you can tell the difference between the English and the Scots.
After that, we got some time to explore the exhibit before we finished with our tour guide telling us about the aftermath of the battle. And with that, I am done at the Battle of Bannockburn. The visitor centre was really cool. I definitely would recommend doing it. One thing to note though, I couldn't find anywhere online that told you how long it took, so I just had to take a guess that it would probably be about half an hour. It ended up being just over an hour. Just so you know, the tour's supposed to last an hour. It took a little bit longer. It was worth it. It was fantastic. That being said, I think I probably missed, I know I missed my ticket to go and do the Old Town Jail, which is a shame. I was really looking forward to that, but hey ho, I'm never too bothered about things like that. I'm really just here to soak in the city, get a little bit of history. That's really what I like to travel for, is the history. So I may have missed one, but that's okay. It means I can relax a little bit. I don't have to run from one thing to the other, and I can just take my time making my way back into the city centre. I'll get the bus again. I was thinking about getting an Uber, but there don't seem to be any available at the moment, so I'll just get the bus back and then just have a little wander before lunch. I took the extra time to have a walk around Stirling. It was really nice to get the chance to explore the city, as I didn't think I'd have much free time on this day to do that. Up walking through the arcade, which had this beautiful restaurant. I thought it was so nice, I just had to film it for some reason.
Now, I could have eaten in that fancy looking restaurant, but I still haven't gotten over my fear of eating by myself in restaurants. So instead, I headed over to McDonald's. So now you have to watch this awkward clip of me eating a double cheeseburger, no mustard, double pickles, feeling incredibly weird about the fact I've got a camera set up on myself eating. So you can see in my face how awkward I feel, especially as I chose a little corner where nobody was, and then a bunch of people sat down around me and they were looking at me like, what the hell is she doing? So I felt very weird, but let's go for a third bite and then we'll leave it there. Nice. After lunch, I walked up to the castle, and let me tell you, this was a trek. It's so steep to get up to the top. I was struggling, especially after eating a huge McDonald's. In future, I would tell you to do this before lunch. It was worth it at the end though to see these amazing views. The castle itself looked amazing, very similar to Edinburgh Castle actually, but maybe a bit bigger. The kitchens were my favourite part. They'd made it really atmospheric and cool, and they had mannequins in there as well. I even actually ended up making a friend, not to brag. This video is going to be very shaky because I'm walking on cobblestones and down a hill, but that is me finished up at Stirling Castle. It was a short but sweet visit, that's for sure. I couldn't spend too long there if I wanted to make it to the Wallace Monument before the end of the day, which we do, so I had to I was only there for about half an hour, just a whistle-stop tour. It was really cool. I cannot recommend it enough. I particularly liked the Great Hall. I thought they did an awesome job with that, and also the kitchens, which are always the part of the castle I like the most. They did a really good job with them, with all the mannequins and the mood lighting, and there was sound to go with it. It was really cool. I wish I just had longer, I guess, to really explore everything, but I absolutely loved it. Like, I can't recommend it enough. I've said that several times. The only thing I suppose, if I had to criticize, if it's even a criticism, is their social distancing procedures was strange. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for making sure there's procedures in place to make sure everyone's safe, like, totally. And I made sure to wear my mask anytime I was even slightly indoors, so 100% in favor of that. But all the procedures were kind of like how they were when we first came out of the first lockdown and no one was vaccinated. There wasn't even a vaccine, and it was all still a bit uncertain, and everyone was really scared and what have you. It was still the same procedures as we had back then, as in, if you wanted to go into any indoor space, you had to queue, and then a member of staff would tell you when you can go in, but they were pretty much only letting in one person at a time. So there'd be like a huge area that could take some people, you know, half an hour to explore, and you had to wait for that half an hour for them to be done before you could go in. There weren't many places that were like that big, but it just meant that, unfortunately, because I was on a time crunch, I did have to miss out a fair bit, just because there was obviously huge queues to get into pretty much every single section. Whereas if you'd kind of put like the whole afternoon or the whole day aside just to visit the castle, then you know you could have afforded to wait in the queue. But I just thought that was a bit strange, and some of it was all one way, which is fine, but some of the one-way systems led to dead ends. So you then had to, you know, back up and go past people anyway. So I suppose that was really my only criticism, but I loved it, I really did. If I ever come back to do the Old Town Jail, I would definitely want to come and visit the castle again and have a bit more of a deeper explore. But now I'm heading back to the bus station to get a different bus to take me to crossing the road, the Wallace Monument. I can't wait. Just got off the bus. Not sure if I made the right call again with the bus stop, but I can see the monument, I can see the base of it, so we're gonna go with it. I might have to do a little bit more walking than I should have if I'd waited a bit, but I never want to miss the stop and have to get off at the next one. I'd rather, you know, obviously get off on the one before and walk, even though it's probably equal distance. I don't know, it makes sense to me. So anyway, now I am going to walk to the base of the monument and then walk up to it. Apparently it takes about 20 minutes. I'm looking at it, it looks pretty steep and pretty high up, so it might take me a little bit more than 20 minutes. I've been pretty lucky with the weather today. I've been inside anytime it's rained, but it is starting to drizzle. I'm not really too fussed about getting wet at this point, to be honest, though. It's the last thing I'm doing today, and if I'm sat on the train wet, it doesn't really matter, but let's see if I can beat the rain.
Once again, the walk up to the Wallace Monument was pretty immense, very steep. I was completely out of breath by the time I got to the top and had to have a little sit down. That being said, it was totally worth it for the amazing view. The Wallace Monument was actually built in the 1800s to commemorate William Wallace, who fought for Scottish independence in the 1200s, and it's a pretty amazing building. There were different rooms inside you could look at that had Wallace's sword in it, which was over 5 foot tall, if you can believe it.
So I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, Alice, we didn't see much of the Wallace Monument behind me. No, you didn't, and I'm keeping an eye out for my bus coming, that's why I keep looking that way, but no you didn't, and I'll tell you why. So I went up, it was a trek to get up, I'm not gonna lie, I found it very difficult. I'm completely unfit, I do zero exercise, if I'm perfectly honest, in my day-to-day life, so I did find it quite difficult. I think most people would be able to manage it, just be warned that it's quite tricky, just in terms of how steep and how long it is. Went up, the views were spectacular, like seriously incredible. It was 100% worth it. I really enjoyed it. Just to be able to go and see those views was amazing. I wouldn't have changed it. But one thing I've got that you might not know about me is a phobia of tight spiral staircases, which I didn't consider before going. The entire thing is one tight spiral staircase, and like if you get halfway up and they're long and you meet someone coming down, you have to reverse back down again, and I had basically a panic attack going up the first set. And there's like different rooms you can go in halfway up and stuff, but I thought, you know what, like I've paid the ticket, I'll keep going. I got to the second one, I thought, you know what, I'm not enjoying it. I was spending the whole time worrying about getting back down again, and I thought, you know, what's the point in doing it if you're not having fun? So came back down again, had a look in the gift shop, admired the views, had a sort of gentler walk back down, so it was really nice. I really enjoyed it. I would 100% recommend it, even if you don't pay for the ticket to come in. Even just to have a look at the views on the top of the hill was 100% worth it. So did have a good time, but unfortunately didn't make it all the way to the top.
And with that, I got the bus back to Stirling and then the train home. I narrowly missed the rain, thankfully, but it did make for a very cosy trip home.
And now I'm back on the train heading home, heading back to Edinburgh. So that does it for my trip to Stirling. I hope you enjoyed. I had a fantastic time. Highs and lows. Some of the highs include Stirling Castle. I really enjoyed that, and the whole Battle of Bannockburn Visitor Centre was really cool. Another high was the fact that I didn't really get rained on the whole time. There was sometimes it was absolutely chucking it down, and I pretty much missed all of it, which was amazing. Some of the lows, of course, was the fact that I missed out on doing the Old Town Jail, and I didn't get to explore as much of Stirling Castle as I would have liked, but there's always the chance to go back another day and maybe go at a more leisurely pace and just do those two things, which would be really fun. So had an absolutely fantastic time. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe, comment down below, anything. I'm happy to hear it. It would be great to know what you think of the videos, think of the channel, if there's anything to change, anything you'd like to see. I'd love to know. But with that, we'll leave it there, and I'll see you next time. Bye!